just want to say I'm so glad it's over, and it was an incredible result in the end to secure mine and daughter's future and that of all the charities that I obviously plan on helping and making a difference with, because you know that's been my life for 20 years.
There she is, Heather Mills McCartney, or I guess Heather Mills we should call her now, waking up $48.5 million richer, wrapping up her divorce settlement with Paul McCartney. We should also mention she was attempting to have details banned from the settlement from the public, but that has been denied, and so now everything will go public. And as we know, the former Beatle did not have a prenup. Unbelievable. And that's what we're talking about today, prenups with Lonny Balbi.
Lonny Balbi joined us. Welcome back to the show, Lonny. Always
nice
good
to
of
see you.
So, as you watch it, what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, first of all, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but prenups are not legal in the UK.
Oh, okay.
They don't even have them, or
no,
what?
you can have them, but a judge can only consider it. It's not binding.
Oh.
So there's a reason for that. I know a lot of people are saying, why didn't he have a prenup?
Yeah.
But it's because they don't recognize them the same way as we do.
Interesting.
There's something you did not know.
Well, maybe they should change their minds.
Yeah.
And should they? Like, do you think that's a mistake?
Yeah. Well, it comes from a lot of old law a long time ago, and you know the British system is very steeped in tradition, and they'll probably change that at some point, sure.
Okay, so let's just talk then about prenups back here in Canada, specifically Calgary. So who exactly does need one?
Well, it's a good idea for a lot of people. I mean, you know, this actually, before going on that, let's talk about, you know, the thing that happened with Paul McCartney. Had he had one, it would have made a lot more sense in terms of, it just reduces the conflict, because they've got, you know, the financial settlement would have been done in advance, and they would have been able to think it through. And I just want to show you something. Of course, I always, I wanted to show you this. Okay, this is a little something I had to dig up. When you phoned me yesterday about this, I thought, well, look, you want to protect this, okay? You have to protect it with this, the prenup. The prenup protects this. Now, it was hard. It was hard for me to locate one of these. Now, what's my name doing on there? That's what
when did you write this? What year was that?
You got to know my sister's name is on the back. Okay, this is not mine. This is my sister's. Okay, I had nothing to do with this. Okay, but if you want to protect this, you do it with this prenup here. Very, very important.
And it's all safe and secure.
No, what's really good? I mean, you know, the prenups are usually a good idea for a lot of people, even if you're living together. A lot of people. You know, we call them prenups, but they could be called cohabitation agreements. They're just a good idea. You know, at the beginning of the relationship, let's just get our expectations set. People spend a lot of money and a lot of time fighting over things that it's just not necessary. If you just thought about it in advance, put it down, get it in writing, and have a detailed agreement. And the other thing that a lot of people get wrong on this is that these things are essentially weighted to one side, right? Everybody thinks, oh, the guy's always going to get everything. It doesn't have to be that way. You can do anything you want. You can, you know, we have clauses that, you know, the longer you're together, the more you get, or you know, you can deal with support issues. There's all sorts of things that you can deal with in these agreements, and they can be very positive. They don't have to be a negative. Everybody thinks they're so negative. They don't have to be, and in fact, they can be. You know, we often do them that they're quite positive.
Go ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
and my question too is often said as in like this, where McCartney, where one of them's a lot older and a lot wealthier, that is when you need a prenup. Is that accurate?
Well, we tend to see it more in second marriages, okay? So that tends to be people who are a little bit older and a little bit more wealthy. It does make more sense in that case, sure it does. Usually when there's an offside, when one person has more money than the other one, it does make more sense. If two people start out a relationship and they don't have anything, it's probably a little less important, right? Yeah. But again, it still might be a good idea. Like two people might get together and one of them has a little bit of money for a down payment on a house, and then they ended up deciding to live together, and somebody's contributing to the mortgage, and then, you know, a few years later they might split up, and then the question is, you know, what happens? Do I get half the interest in the house? But you know, it's really confusing. So why not just set it out into an agreement? You know, why not put it at the beginning that, you know, that you're essentially paying a notional rent, or you're going to gain a certain interest for the longer time that we're together. It just makes a lot of sense for people.
Okay, but how do you bring it up?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, when you're there and on say Valentine's Day, and you know you want to show the prenup to the person, it's always a little bit of a tough issue.
Yeah.
It's tough to broach that. Although I think it's a lot of people will say, you know, what I keep hearing time and time again is people say, at the beginning of the relationship, they say, look, I don't want anything. You know, I'm not after you for your money. And then, so, you know, kind of that's probably a good time to start to talk about this kind of thing, because people who don't do those agreements, and then we see them 5, 10, 20 years later, that little discussion at the beginning doesn't mean anything. It doesn't count. So you might as well get it again, get it in writing. The other thing that I find is a real positive. There's some other ways that we've done it over the past few years that I think is, again, a little bit of a positive spin on this. And what we do is we try to get the parties, what we might do is sort of have the 4 people in a room, and let's talk about, the 2 lawyers and the 2 clients sit down, and let's talk about what are your goals? What do you want to have in this situation? Let's find out what you want, and then let's craft something that'll work for the 2 of you, so that it's not one-sided. It's not sort of the man saying, well, here's the agreement, you know, stick it in front of your face and then just have a fight about it. Let's sit down, let's just craft something from scratch, and let's figure out what's going to work well for both of you. That seems to be a more positive approach to start the whole process, because these people are going to be living together. You want to make it a positive experience for them, not a negative one. So that's something we've been using in recent years.
We want to get your thoughts. So email us in. What are your thoughts on nuptials? btcalgarycitytv.com. We have a GPS we're giving away, but more importantly, we'd love to get your ideas.
Yes, and Lonny Balbi, thank you so much for being here, family lawyer. We'll be right back on Breakfast Television.